Test. There is something electrifying about a vibrant community of learning, providing new knowledge, reimagining teaching and learning, designing and reinventing the spaces where we learn, live, and work, attracting and inspiring the best students and faculty, engaging locally and globally. These are essential to creating tomorrow for UT and
Welcome to the University of Tampa. My name is Tucker Whitman and I'm a junior marketing major here at UT. Today we're going to look at some of the highlights of our beautiful Riverside campus here in downtown Tampa. We'll start at Plan Hall. This historic building was opened in 1891 as the Tampa Bay Hotel and now serves as the main academic building here at UT, with 4 floors of classrooms as well as faculty and administrative offices. Next up, the Vaughn Center, the hub of campus life and activities. This multi-purpose building includes the campus bookstore, our primary cafeteria plus an additional food court, a theater, as well as offices and meeting rooms for student organizations. The Vaughn Center is also one of UT's residence halls, providing 5 floors of student rooms. Morsani Hall is another residence hall here at UT. In addition to housing approximately 450 students, this building offers another selection of eateries as well as a small grocery store. Now let's check out the Sykes College of Business. This academic building houses classrooms and faculty offices for UT's undergrad and graduate business students. This building also has a real-time stock trading room. Right next door is the Sykes Chapel for Faith and Values.
Good afternoon and welcome to the University of Tampa's opening day for softball. The University of Tampa Spartans take on the Lander Bearcats here at home. It's a nice warm day here in Tampa and a great day for some softball. I'm Taylor Storthy alongside
I'm Bruce Wozniak, and it's a Saturday afternoon and a game time temperature of 65 degrees following a couple of days that were about 20 degrees warmer, but the players on the field are still ready to play softball nonetheless. And out in the pitching circle for UT, Corinne Miner warming up to start this first game of a doubleheader.
Yep, a doubleheader is always exciting, and we'll expect to see 2 of Tampa's aces here. As you just mentioned, Corinne Miner was absolutely electric for the Spartans last season. 9-3 with an 8.5 ERA and 89 strikeouts. One of the strongest pitchers in the Sunshine State Conference, and she's looking to have another strong start today.
And of course you see the Spartans wearing white uniform tops with black pants, and the Lander Bearcats coming down from Greenwood, South Carolina, getting ready to start things off here in the top of the first inning.
Leading off for the Lander Bearcats is Sage Jones, number 31, a freshman out of Cape Coral, Florida. First pitch here taken for ball 1. Now the 1-0 count. Count moves up to 1-1 after the called strike. And there's a bunt that's going to go foul. 1-2 count now. Squaring up to try to get the bunt down. Instead, he's going to turn it and foul it out of the stadium. Still 1-2 count here. Once again, the 1-2 count here. And he's going to foul it back again. Good job to keep the bat alive by Jones. Still the 1-2 count here. And taken strike 3, the first strikeout of the season for the Spartans, and as well for Miner. 1 away in the first inning. And now at the plate is going to be number 9, Bridget Tierney, a junior from Mocksville, North Carolina. The 0-0. He's going to try to get one down, but nope, it's going to be fouled off. Ready for the 0-1 here. And once again will be fouled off. The count now goes to 0-2. A strong start for Minor on the mound. Hasn't been behind in the count yet, apart from the first pitch. Now is a chance to try to get a second out with no damage. That's a ball taken high. A good eye there from Bridget Tierney to bring the count to 1-2. So an interesting thing when it comes to scheduling. Last season, the Lander Bearcats had 16 wins and 22 losses. Although, 22 was actually the number of games the Spartans played as well. Meanwhile, it's a good take there for a 2-2 count there for Bridget Tierney.
Yeah, UT had 7 additional games that were canceled last season, so you're right, they only played 22, although a very impressive 18-4 one-loss record for UT in 2021 as another one goes foul. So Tierney staying alive during this at-bat. And for the Bearcats, you mentioned 22 losses, which was Tampa's total combined games. They were 16-22 as their one-loss record, and they had 6 additional games they could have played. Those were either postponed or canceled. So Lander really loaded up their schedule last year.
And there's another taken ball. Looks like the count is at 2-2 here. But yeah, and even though that 16-22 record doesn't look great for Lander, they notably were 3-17 in conference play, sporting a much better 13-5 record in out-of-conference matchups, which definitely means Tampa's not going to have anything close to an easy win. We should be in for a really nice match here, as that one will also be fouled off. It's a long at-bat here for Tierney, so a good job to try to drive up the pitch count early on. The 2-2. Strike 3! It's a second strikeout of the day for Corin Minor. And not a surprise, Minor has a lot of stuff. She had 3 10-strikeout games last season. Absolutely lethal on the mound. And now stepping up will be Shannon Antonini, number 26, out in center field.
Yeah, I was going to say they can try and drive up the pitch count on Corinne Minor, but she's not going anywhere. She'll be in for the full 7 innings. As I mentioned, this is the first game of a doubleheader, so certainly they need to save arms. There's 2 more games tomorrow for UT here at home. Lander giving the Spartans a little bit of a challenge here, starting off the game with, as you mentioned, that long at-bat, albeit resulting in the second out.
Yeah, as long as the at-bat ends in an out, it's always a good sign, but over time, those long at-bats can be costly. The count now drops to 1-2 after the swing and miss.
And the home plate umpire and Lexi Chevalier having a little laugh down there. They looked everywhere for the ball, which was laying right on the line on the right side of the batter's box.
That's just the classic. You can't see something that's right there. That's going to go low, and the count will go to 2 balls and 2 strikes. Shannon Antonini, of course, a junior from Marietta, Georgia. And there is going to be a fly to left field, but it will be easily put away by Lauren Fantone, who also, coincidentally, will be leading off for the Spartans. That's the end of the top of the first. A clean inning, 3 up, 3 down. Spartans now getting ready to take the field and bat for the first time.
Lander, no runs, no hits, no Spartan errors, and no Bearcats left on base. And so we'll go to the bottom of the first, and we'll get to see Liz Golin as the starting pitcher for the Bearcats here this afternoon. And I'm impressed to see the stands nice and full for this game. I mentioned that it's 20 degrees cooler than it was a couple of days ago when it was 85 here in Tampa. And I must say that I noticed in walking over to the stadium an awful lot of people wearing Lander apparel. So certainly a lot of folks that either are local because they have someone that goes to school up there, or contrarily, they've made the trip down here to what they thought was going to be sunny Florida. It's interesting to compare these 2 rosters, though. Tampa only has 3 non-Floridians on their roster, and it's almost the opposite for Lander. They have just under 29% of their roster from South Carolina. So certainly their head coach, Julian Lemaire, has done her shopping in terms of really broadening the search for players to draw to Greenwood, South Carolina. It's not a tough recruit to get people to come to Tampa, but the Spartans are also fortunate that there is so much great softball here in the area. They have so many players from Tampa and the surrounding areas, and it's seen, and as I said, all but 3 players on the UT roster this season being from here in Florida.
Yeah, and that's the thing as well. Even though North Carolina is also relatively close to South Carolina, being able to expand the pool nationwide and get a lot of extra talent in there, you can find some real hidden gems from all around the states. And honestly, when it comes to a lot of other Tampa sports, you see a lot of other talent from around the world as well, whether it comes from soccer to basketball or even volleyball. So it's interesting to see.
And speaking of putting together the roster, Leslie Cantor, the Spartans coach, in her 28th season guiding Spartans women's softball, she is 7 victories away from 700 in her coaching career. So another one that she begins here at the University of Tampa. And as I just mentioned, tremendous success that this program has enjoyed under her leadership as the Spartans are underway here in their first at-bat.
The 1-0 for Fantel's going to drive it, and it's a great catch at second base by Sage Jones. So the freshman of the year last season, unfortunately, out off a nice line drive.
And coincidentally, there's an example. Jones, who made that out for the Bearcats, she is from Cape Coral, Florida, but goes to school up in South Carolina at Lander and gets to come back to the Sunshine State for some games this weekend, as Lander not only competes here in Tampa today, but tomorrow they'll play in St. Pete.
Now will be strike 1 as Stephanie Ballmer steps up. She was very strong in the field last season, having 8 3+ assist games on defense, and also had made the commissioner's honor roll for the Sunshine State Conference. It's a 0-1 count for her, and it's another line drive that's excellently caught. So 2 away immediately for the Spartans.
Showing the importance of being alert there on defense, as a great catch made there for the second out of this bottom of the first inning. And Cook was right there on the spot to grab that one, a liner towards third base.
The 2 great hits there by the Spartans, but unfortunately, they went right to the fielders, right in the prospective spots. So great job being there. There's a drive deep to the outfield, but it will fall for a very short inning for the Spartans. So Gallhouse not able to do much in her first at-bat, and it's a 1-2-3 inning once again, Lander being able to avoid any damage.
Yeah, that's right. The Spartans, no runs, no hits, no Bearcats errors, and no UT runners left on base. So through 1 complete, the score is tied at 0-0.
This is the University of Tampa. Explore your dreams. Discover your talents. Get ready to invent, innovate, and be a leader. This is the University of Tampa.
29 Cook, when I'm looking here and I'm like,
number 32, Kyle Hornsby. Inside the 30, touchdown. Michaela Burgess. An incredible finish by Hall.
The NCAA and its member schools offer nearly 500,000 college athletes a path to go pro in something other than sports. Learn more at ncaa.org/opportunity.
Yeah, and I had a notice here from the lineup that was that they had out there, but yeah.
oh, Barbara.
That's interesting. And we are back for the second inning here. Lander back up. And if you're just joining us, no one's gotten on base yet for either team. Good starts for both defenses. And now Barbara Cook will step up to the plate here for the Lander Bearcats.
Cook, who made that heads-up grab down near third base in the bottom of the first.
A swinging strike there to open up the count. 0-1. And Minor already a strong start.
I mentioned St. Pete in terms of where Lander will play tomorrow, and St. Pete is the hometown for Corinne Minor. She is a grad student and is mostly at home in the pitching circle.
Yeah, and Corin, it's always great to be able to play in your hometown here. Tampa's relatively close to St. Pete, so always good as well.
Sure, there's folks that have come across the bridge from St. Pete to watch her on a number of occasions during her UT career, as that one goes out of the stadium and into the parking area.
Another deep foul ball, and for anyone who has come to watch Minor specifically, they definitely weren't disappointed last season with her elite pitching performances, and tonight they've probably also been pretty excited so far. There's going to be a pop fly. It's going to be in foul ground, and will land in the bullpen. So it'll be an 0-2 count here. After that 0-2 count was fouled away. And a chance for Minor to try to get another strikeout here.
And it's interesting to note, I mentioned the good crowd here on hand at the Namoli Family Stadium, and there's still a couple fans that are walking in late here to the facility. So great to see this support, especially on a weekend when there are so many UT sports going on, that the stands are practically full for this softball game this afternoon.
Yeah, and the fans, I think, totally make any sporting event so much more enjoyable, as there's a third K of the day for Corin Minor, but fans from both Lander and Tampa, and there are quite a few Lander fans, as you've mentioned, who've been able to make the trek down to Tampa to see their team play in the first of 2 games. But now stepping up will be Logan Coward, the designated hitter. Here now with the 0-0 count.
And she too is a local product from just up in Wesley Chapel. Likely some fans rooting her on here this afternoon.
Yeah, but we've been mentioning local products. There have been a few people from Lander who actually are also from Florida, so a bit of a homecoming match to open up the season for them.
She takes a quick glance down to third base for some instructions and steps back in for the next pitch from Corinne Minor.
The 2-0 will be taken for ball 3. A good job to get a 3-0 count here, and potentially we could see the first base runner so far. Coward is, of course, a sophomore, and as you had mentioned, she is from Wesley Chapel, Florida. And she will take a look, and that's strike 1, the 3-1 count now. And just tipped away and fouled off. A 3-2 count. Good recovery in the at-bat from Minor. And a chance to try to get a second out very quickly here.
Yeah, the momentum quickly swings in favor of Corinne Minor, especially knowing that she's got 3 strikeouts in this game already. As you see Coward stay alive there.
So the 3-2 once again. It's always the most stressful count to have in any form of softball, because any miss will put the runner on base, but there, it won't miss. It's another strikeout for Minor, the second of the inning, 4th of the game. 2 outs here in the second inning, now leading to Haven Pesci coming up. Pesci coming up.
And Pesci steps in, but I'll tell you, Coward, that's a long walk back to the dugout, knowing that you were up 3-0 in the count, and end up striking out as you see the first base hit of the game, as the Bearcats get a base runner here in the top of the second. So Pesci gets the distinction of being the first player for either team to reach base so far this afternoon.
Yep, and that was a great hit there by Pesci to just get it over the shortstop and get it down in the outfield for a nice single.
And it was also important because, as I was saying, there's the discouragement of watching Coward go up 3-0 in the count, only to end up striking out. So to come right back and get a runner on base is really important for the Bearcats as a team, as now you see Derek here working against Minor.
Going down 3 in a row again would definitely be even more discouraging for the Bearcats. So they can at the very least say that they were able to get one hit to get someone on. And of course, when there's one runner on base, anything can happen. A 2-0 count here.
You know, this is a nice time in a young athlete's career, a student athlete like Gracie Derrick. Her first at-bat as a college athlete. She is a freshman from Chapin, South Carolina. So for Gracie Derrick, this is a moment that she won't forget anytime soon. Her first at-bat in a college softball game.
She also has the 2-1 count so far, so it's a great first at-bat in general. And it's a good check by her to make it a 3-1 count, putting some pressure on Minor. Swinging strike there, a 3-2 count.
And you know, if you're head coach Julie Lemaire, that's one way to get Derek focused right away in her first at-bat in a college softball game. Hey, look, there's 2 outs and we got a runner on base. We need to keep this going.
And it will keep going as she draws a nice walk on the full count. And that's almost one of the best types of at-bats you can get besides getting a ball in play and trying to bring home a run. Getting a long at-bat with up to full count, and then being able to just get on base freely after taking a nice pitch.
So a nice job by Gracie Derrick to stay dialed in, to recognize the game situation, and put aside the emotion of this is my first collegiate at-bat. And indeed, as you said, she draws the walk, and now all of a sudden Corinne Minor's got 2 runners on base behind her.
Lauren Colley now up, and she will take ball 1 as well, the 1-0 count. 1.
So, you know, it's great to rack up the strikeouts. Corinne Minor has 4 of them already, but this is where the real test comes, is saying, okay, let's respond to the fact that all of a sudden the Bearcats have 2 runners on base. Let's shut this down while there are 2 outs and we can get out of this inning without any damage. So let's watch Corinne Minor go to work here on what is currently a 1-1 count.
It will be fouled away, leading to a 1-2 count and a chance to get out of the jam for Corinne Minor.
Lauren Colley, who, like Gracie Derrick before her, is also from up in South Carolina.
Colley's going to pop one out, tracking it down, and got it. A great play there by Abigail Siegel, and the side is retired. 2 runners stranded off 1 hit and 1 walk for Lander. But earlier, it was a really strong start in the inning for Minor, who racked up her 3rd and 4th strikeout of the game.
Well, you know, Taylor, this is a case of where if you're Tampa head coach Leslie Cantor, it's not about scouting the opponent and saying, how are we going to prepare for Lander? It's, I got to get my team ready for this season. So this is the first chance in a game setting to see what does my roster this season look like? How are these girls coming out and responding offensively and defensively, especially there in that inning where it's all of a sudden the opponent has a couple of runners on base. How is my team going to respond? She knows what she's got in Corinne Minor. She knows she can count on her, but the players around her, how are they responding mentally to this situation? Is everybody in the right position? Does everybody know where the next ball is going to go to, what they're going to do with it? And you saw them respond there. But now equally important is, okay, now are my girls going to put their hitting shoes on and come out and start to do something offensively here in this bottom of the 2nd inning? Sure, there's still no score, and sure, there's still a lot more ball to be played this afternoon, but let's start to show each other what we're going to be this season as a team.
Yeah, and opening day is always that best time to be able to say, listen, this is what we're made of, this is what we have to do, and it's great that you can immediately tell what's working and what's not. And with a doubleheader, you get 2 chances of that for 14 full innings, potentially more if we go extra.
Yeah, and to show your coach, especially if you're one of the younger players, this is what you can expect from me this season. This is why you have me as part of this roster this year.
Yep, and a lot of the Tampa players will be looking to try to prove themselves. Minor doesn't necessarily need to do that. as she had a great season last year, not just on the mound, but she also was able to hit with a .288 average, .356 on base, and .439 slugging with 12 RBIs and a home run last year. And she's now going to drive it for the first hit for the Spartans. Almost gets through the gap, but it'll be a very solid single on the first pitch.
Yeah, indeed, a very solid single. I like your word choice there because a very well-struck ball, and Miner put it just in the right spot to get herself on base and give her team a shot in the arm starting off this bottom of the second.
It was a great hit, but also solid fielding there by Shannon Antonini to not let it get too far and prevent it from going extra bases.
So talking about those young players and showing head coach Leslie Cantor what she can expect out of them this season, this is Alexa Russo stepping into the batter's box, showing bunt, and you see that one's going to start off the count for her at 0-1, but she's from right here in Tampa. She attended Tampa Catholic, and so a local youngster. I should give her the same props that I did on the Lander side. This is her first collegiate at-bat.
Actually, she did play, I think, last year with the Spartans, but COVID red shirts allow for extra eligibility being in the freshman year still. That being said, last year, she actually slugged 4.29, which is really strong. So hopefully, I know that for sure Leslie Cantor is going to want to open up with an extra base hit to potentially bring a leading run home. Here's the 0-2 count after 2 missed pitches.
And I'm watching Lauren Colley, catcher for Lander, looking over to her dugout for instructions before she gives the signal to her starting pitcher, Liz Golan.
The breaking ball misses there on the 0-2 count, leading to a 1-2. There was a nice bit of vertical movement, or horizontal movement, on that pitch, and just lands right outside the zone. Here's the 1-2. It's going to be fouled backwards. Russo able to stay alive. In 20 games last year, apart from the .429 slugging, Russo hit .265, got on base .275, and also had a home run and 9 RBIs. So already a little bit of pressure with a strong Spartan hitter. Going to have to see if Liz Golan can get the first out here. And that will be high for ball 2, the 2-2 count.
I'm also noticing that Liz Golan has a wristband on that she's checking before each pitch. Signals that she's getting from her catcher. You see her doing it there. And then also as she's listening to her coach.
It's going to be fouled away again. And yeah, that wristband just allows for extra strategizing and extra communication to help try to deal, or to help try to tell, say, hey, you got to do this. Hey, watch out for this. So it's always good to have that. The 2-2 here for Russo, who's been doing a great job at keeping this at-bat alive. Strike 3 as Russo swings and misses. Now there's 1 out with 1 on. And Lexi Chevalier is going to come up to the plate. She also had a great season last year, but a fun fact about her, as she makes her first at-bat here, she continues her game streak. She hasn't missed a single game as a Tampa Spartan, and started in every single one except for one where she did come off the bench. So runner on first. Chevalier now up. And we'll take the ball. Chevalier up.
Chevalier, another local product from Valrico, attended Bloomingdale High School. And Chevalier waiting for the 1-0. And there it is. Count goes to 1-1 as she looks at that one. Liz Golan starting to find her groove here.
Yeah, after conceding that first hit, Golan was able to win a pretty decently long at-bat against Russo. Hopefully, or she's hoping to finish off this at-bat a little quicker, but it won't. A great take by Chevalier. 2-1 count here.
A lot of communication from the Lander dugout. A lot of communication to both Golan and, as I mentioned, the catcher, Lauren Colley.
And that will be fouled off, bringing the count to 2-2. And a few of the Tampa bench has to duck out of the way there as it almost hit them. And a chance to try to get 2 outs here. Still with that runner on. But yeah, Chevalier, having a massive game streak, has been very reliable for the Spartans when it comes to playing. And of course, sits behind in the catcher spot, so she can also get a very good sort of read of what's going on from there as well.
And a streak like that, a player like Chevalier, what you see from that is that she doesn't get hurt. She doesn't go into such awful slumps where the coach decides be good for you to take a game or 2 off and watch from the dugout. So a very consistent player, Lexi Chevalier. And here comes the 2-2 to her. That one's in the dirt for ball 3. Chevalier staying alive here and keeping in mind that her starting pitcher, Corinne Miner, is down at first base in the form of the Spartans' first base runner of the game.
And always dangerous here because even though you can't afford a base runner, you definitely don't want 2 on. There is going to be a flare out to first and an easy pop out, however. To put 2 away, a good long at bat, but unfortunately not ending with her on base. Ultimately, it'll bring up Abigail Siegel. Siegel with one of her first starts for the Spartans, but she was a very reliable pinch hitter last year, being able to get 3 hits on the 4 occasions she stepped up to the plate, including an RBI.
Siegel, more or less local, just from over in Clearwater.
Siegel's going to get one down, but that'll be an easy play to first, and the side is retired. 1 hit and 1 left on base.
We are through 2 complete. Our score is still tied 0-0.
And we are back now at the top of the 3rd inning. It is still a tied game here between Tampa and Lander. A great start for both teams. 1 hit apiece. And Corin Miner back in the pitching circle.
Yeah, and I want to make the point that even though I said pitch count won't become an issue, they will keep her in for the whole game. You do still have to take a look at the fact that she has only thrown 2 innings so far, yet Corinne Miner's pitch count is already at 45. So it's also a case of where you want to see her find her groove and get the outs a lot faster so that her arm is ready, because she will certainly throw one of the 2 games tomorrow too when the Spartans host another doubleheader. So it'll be something to keep our eye on as this game goes along, as we're in the first game of a doubleheader today, and as I just mentioned, there will be 2 more here at the Namoli Family Stadium tomorrow. Tomorrow the opposition will be Ursuline, and today it's the Lander Bearcats from up in Greenwood, South Carolina.
And there will be a fly out here to Siegel to put away the first out. And yeah, of course, having to manage the pitching arms is Tampa doesn't have too many listed on the roster. There are only 3 active pitchers, and one of them is also a utility player. So,
and now we go back to the top of the order, and Jones is 0 for 1 so far today.
Jones is going to get one down, but it will go foul, so it'll be an 0-1 count to open up with one out.
She struck out looking back in the first inning.
And here's the 0-1 now from Minor. It's going to be fouled away. Again, the 0-2 here. Minor looking for a 5th strikeout. And once again, Jones showing bunt. Takes the ball, 1-2. And once again fouled away, 1-2 again. A good job to keep the at-bat alive and keep pressure on the pitching circle for Corin Minor as the pitch count continues to rise. There's going to be a drive into the field, but it will be caught in left. Good contact there, but unfortunately not enough to get down. And it'll actually be a very easy play for Lauren Fantone. 1 out. Bridget Tierney back at the plate. Here with 2 outs, hoping to try to start something for Lander. And will be fouled away, almost getting out of the stadium, but the net will keep it in. The 0-1. Tierney now consulting the third base coach, trying to see how they want to attack Minor. And of course, Minor, always elite in the circle. And so far today, has also been elite. 4 strikeouts and only allowing 1 hit, and so far has had 2 relatively easy outs, even though they've come on slightly longer pitches. But this is probably going to be one of her faster innings if she can get out of it here. She's already at 52 pitches, and as you mentioned, she will definitely go the whole game, but you definitely want to try to get her pitch count up so she does get a little more tired and maybe more prone to a few errors. Minor, conversely, will also want to try to get out of an inning or two very quickly to help preserve some stamina, especially for the doubleheader tomorrow.
Bridget Tierney's ready, and Corinne Minor is ready. The 0-1 is on the way.
And we'll drop the bunt over third. It's not going to be fielded well. And Tierney will do enough to get on base, improving to 1-2 on the day.
Abigail Siegel should be charged with an error there. And in fact, that is how it scored. And so the Bearcats have a base runner on a Spartan error. And so now down at first base, Bridget Tierney.
And there's a drive, the shortstop tracking back. But no, it'll actually instead go to Fantone. So, despite the error, no extra damage dealt. As the inning inside, or the half inning is done.
Taylor, that play right there is exactly what I was talking about in terms of looking at your team and evaluating what they're going to be like out on the field, because that's a classic case right there of needing to have communication. You called it exactly right. The shortstop was breaking back as though she was going to play the ball, and all of a sudden at the last minute the left fielder makes the catch. So there's got to be that communication so it doesn't turn into a bad news bears situation where they're all standing around looking at each other as the ball's on the field. So nice job there by the Spartans defense, and a nice job to get out of that little bit of a jam, because you see 2 innings in a row now where the Bearcats are trying to get a little bit of momentum going, and the Spartans have been able to shut it down. No offense in terms of any runs that have scored for the visitors. So through 2.5, this game is still scoreless. It's time for the Spartans to do something above and beyond Corinne Minor having gotten on base before, because they did nothing with that. So UT really needs to start doing something offensively here, because the Bearcats are making an early statement. We came a long way, and we came to play.
Exactly, and as the road team, that's the exact mentality you need to have to try to challenge, say, listen, we know it's going to be hard. We know you probably have more fans. Although, judging at the stands, it's relatively 50-50, as a lot of Lander fans have traveled down. So,
But you also have to give Lander credit because you're looking at a UT team that, as you and I talked about in the beginning, was 18-4 last year. So you know that you're going to get a game from the Spartans, especially in their home stadium. So to come in here and start off the way they have is a real shot in the arm for them.
And sometimes playing on the road can just give you that extra little bit of momentum, and even when facing a tough opponent.
And it's a good way for some team bonding to start off the season. And I'm sure that Julie Lemaire knows that and is looking for the girls to really come together as a team this weekend as they get their season started here in Tampa and tomorrow in St. Pete.
It's a good take there, but it's called strike 2. So E.J. Jansen, unfortunately, now down in an 0-2 count. She's hit .235 in her career for Tampa and is hoping to have a bounce-back season this year. She had a .981 fielding percentage last year and is hoping to try to start something here for Tampa. The 0-2, a good take, and the count goes to 1-2 here.
And as much as we talked about the pitch count for Corinne Miner, very impressive for Liz Golan so far here for Lander. Only 20 pitches coming into this inning.
That pitch count showing total opposites in the way that these at-bats have gone for Tampa. It's been relatively quick, and even though they have found that one hit, it's mainly been quick outs. Lander, they've been able to drive up long counts, even though they also haven't generated much offense. Now this time it's going to try to get down. No, it won't, but a good hit there by EJ to get it to the outfield. But a great job tracking it down by Gracie Derrick, and they're now one away for the Spartans.
Yeah, well-struck ball by Emily Jansen, who has the distinction of being the tallest player on the Spartans roster at an even 6 foot from nearby Lutz. And she gives away to her teammate Avery Perkins, a freshman from down in Fort Myers.
Perkins taking a look, and that will be a ball high. And despite being a freshman, it's kind of weird to see all returning freshmen in a way with the COVID redshirt policies. But Perkins had a .238 average with 3 RBIs last season. Hoping to get another strong start here. Fouled off a 1-1.
Each team with just one hit in this game. And ones are wild, as there's one out here, and the count is 1-1.
And also the 1-0 at the plate for Tampa. But the count will now go to a 2-1 after a good take there from Avery Perkins. Golan winding up from the circle. It's going to be dropped and going to get down past Golan. Not able to get the throw in time. And Tampa will get on the board again with another hit.
That one should be scored a hit. That was too hot to handle for Golan. And at the same time, it showed good speed on the part of Avery Perkins in getting down to first base. Didn't bother to look over to see if the pitcher was going to field that one in time or not. So the Spartans have a base runner here with only one out in the bottom of the third. And neither team yet to cross the plate yet. And timeout called here by Lauren Fantone. And now she's ready, and the pitch on the way is way outside.
So the 1-0 here to open for Fantone. She was an SSC Freshman of the Year last year, and she was able to hit .368 with a 40 on-base percentage in 21 games last year. So definitely the type of batter you want with a runner on first to try to open something up for the Spartans. And that'll be fouled away, 1-1.
So the Bearcats, who, as I mentioned, have started to build a little bit of momentum offensively, are possibly being challenged here defensively as Golan gets ready to deliver the 1-1. to Fantone.
And it'll be now 2-1. Another pitch outside. Golan's definitely done her homework. She knows just how dangerous Fantone can be to get the ball in play. So obviously doesn't want to try to let up anything here. 2-1 now. A chance for Fantone. And that'll be fouled away. The 2-2. Trying to get her to reach outside with a few of those pitches out there.
And Perkins was going on that one. She's ready to run down at first, as certainly Leslie Cantor eager to get a runner in scoring position here for the Spartans.
And of course, as a pitcher in the circle, any runner that's there is going to be dangerous. And seeing her go again, this time it's going to be a pop fly, and that is going to be a double play on the infield hit. That's the risk of trying to steal, because that is the exact thing that can happen. So instead of getting another chance with a runner on, the inning is now over.
Yeah, huge play for Lander there to get out of what could have been some potential damage for UT, but instead we're through 3 innings and the game remains scoreless.
Just another ordinary day at UT.
And we are back top of the 4th inning here. Not a lot of offense, but quite a lot of defense. Only a few base runners have been able to get on all match. Minor, the first pitch, taken outside. Ball 1.
This is Barbara Cook, who struck out back in the 2nd inning. And Corinne Minor, 4 strikeouts, 1 walk issued so far in this game. Facing Barbara Cook here in the top of the 4th.
Cook just swung and missed on the 2nd pitch. The 3rd one, it's another swing and a miss. So the 1-2 count. Minor looking for a 5th K of the game. That's going to be a drive to the outfield, tracking it back. But once again, B. Fantone to get the first out here. That was a good hit, but didn't have the distance to get deep enough to drop or leave the park. So 1 out here, and coming back up to the plate now will be Logan Coward.
There is a little bit of a breeze here as I'm looking off to my left, just to the side of the Spartans dugout. You can see the leaves that are, and oh, that one's just missed.
Yep, it was a nice pop fly, but a dangerous ball. Hard for either fielder to get, and it will actually drop off of the glove of E.J. Jansen at first to lead to a man on, or someone on first with 1 out.
The short palm trees alongside the Spartans dugout. Good gauge of what the wind is like down there.
And that's the tricky thing as well. You're seeing the ball fly through the air to try to read it. The wind can also give it a nice little gust in the wrong direction and can catch you off guard. That's potentially what could have happened on that play. But not a lot of stress here, although there will be a pinch runner now entering the game.
And that is Naya Jones.
Yep.
Naya Jones, a freshman from Darlington, South Carolina. An opportunity to get on the field here in the 4th inning as the Bearcats, with one away.
Jones immediately going, but actually stops. And it'll be 0-1.
Haven Pesci is 1 for 1 in this game. She had a single in the 2nd inning.
And it's going to be a pop-up back, but it will get stuck up on the net. Count now goes to 0-2. Chance here for Miner to try to get another out with the runner on first. And being a pinch runner, you have to see if maybe she's going to try to go for second. There's going to be a drive into the outfield. It's shallow and will be read very well for the second out. A good play there by Russo to track it down. And now back at the plate is Gracie Derrick. She was able to get a base on balls last time, and once again will be entering in a tight 2-out situation. I think this actually mirrors what she had early in the game, where there was a runner on first and 2 outs. She was able to try to get on base. She's going to try to drop a bunt, but it's excellently fielded by EJ to draw the 3rd and final out of the top half of the inning. 1 runner stranded, and nothing doing otherwise for Lander.
Yeah, you're right. A great defensive play there by Emily Jansen. And for Kanaya Jones, no opportunity for her as the pinch runner as she gets stranded. And so we're through 3.5 now, and still a very close game in terms of not only scoreless, but each team only with 2 hits each. And the Spartans, a challenge here in game 1 of this season. And I'm sure that head coach Leslie Cantor would say you don't take any opponent lightly. But as I mentioned, probably very little, if any, advanced scouting of Lander. And all of a sudden they come in and really give the Spartans a handful here in this first game of the doubleheader. As we get set for Stephanie Ballmer to lead off this bottom of the 4th. And she is 0 for 1 today. She lined out to 3rd back in the 1st inning. And meanwhile, in the pitching circle for Lander, Liz Golan, 1 strikeout thus far. She's only allowed 2 hits. Pitch count is at 34. And now we're seeing Ballmer head towards the batter's box.
And we had mentioned the pitch count earlier. A great job by Golan to keep it down. So far, she's been doing really well against the strong Spartans lineup, and hoping to continue that trend here with the bottom of the 4th. So going from the circle, the 0-0. That is taken for ball 1. The 1-0 here. And once again will be taken, but this time right down the heart of the plate. 1-1. Ballmer hasn't seen a lot of balls in play her way today, but has been a good asset for the Spartans defensively all season. Hoping to do the same right here with her bat. And draws another ball. 2-1 on the count here.
And we are closing in 6 minutes away from the game being 1 hour old, and the temperature has not budged since the first pitch, still at 65 degrees, which probably feels like home for Lander. As you see that one just catch the corner for strike 2.
And so far, no challenges yet by Ballmer on the pitch. She might have to right here, though. A 2-2 count. A chance for try to get one away immediately for Lander. Lander's going to foul that back, keeping the bat alive. And as you had mentioned, the 65 degrees, a little bit chilly for Tampa players, but yeah, for Ballmer, business as usual. And I'm from the Northeast, so this is also generally business as usual for me, this type of temperature. And generally, during these months of the year, it's a blessing to have a 65-degree day. I'm more used to sometimes seeing snow and the 20 and 10s.
Well, and you can talk about heat in terms of Liz Golan. The longer that she keeps this up, the more she's heating up. And there's going to be a routine ground ball.
The throw to first gets there in time as well. A good play and good running there from Balmer to try to beat it out, but it was a routine ground ball. And a routine, nice throw by Reagan at shortstop to get it to first.
Well, Liz Golan really heating up here, as I was saying. We're now in the bottom of the fourth, and there's one away. And Golan keeping this UT team in check. Only 2 hits for the home team thus far.
Tampa's had a quiet start, but the heart of their lineup's coming up, including the team's own Shohei Ohtani in a way. Maria Gallhouse, an ace on the mound and an absolute master at the bat. Last season, she was able to hit for a 3 average, a 3.55 on base, 4.29 slugging, alongside a home run in 70 at bats. And also, I assume that she'll be on the pitching circle for Game 2. Had a 9.6 ERA, alongside a 9.3 whip and 78 strikeouts. Takes that, but it's a strike for 1-1.
And Gallhouse watches that one outside for ball 2. She is, as you just mentioned, a complete player offensively and defensively, and trying to break through here against Liz Golan in the bottom of the fourth. Spartans are looking for any kind of a spark, and that might be it.
It certainly is. She's going to be now turn 2 as it goes deep into the left field corner, and it's going to be a nice double with 1 out. Gallhouse being able to get on base for the first time this season off a beautifully hit ball. And that's just an unfieldable play. Cook made a good attempt at it, but once he hit it down the line, that's generally going to go into the outfield. And had enough movement to the left.
She had flown out to left back in the first inning, so you knew that she was going to be swinging, and it was just a matter of, with the power, would she find a gap somewhere? And she was able to there, just down the third base line, as the left fielder had to take that one all the way out to the fence, and Gallhouse ends up at second base.
So now some pressure for the Spartans. The check at second after Minor simply grounds out to third. Gallhouse won't move. 2 away. The runner on. This was the first time the Spartans have a runner and scoring position. And now Alexa Russo is going to be hoping to try to get the Spartans' first run of the year.
Yeah, or if nothing else, at least try to move Gallhouse up. Keep the inning alive. Find yourself in a bit of a quagmire here, because you don't want to make the last out, but you don't want to get caught up in the emotion of maybe I could drive in the game's first run. Just a simple base hit. Don't have to hit this one over the fence. Let's see what Alexa Russo does here against Liz Golan.
Russo's going to drive that to right field. Unfortunately, it lands foul. So it'll be an 0-1 count. That certainly would have brought the run home. But a good start to get some good contact, and the pressure will now start to build for Golan. Golan's pitched a great game so far. And obviously, she's going to be confident that she could try to get out of this. But in the circle, that pressure starts to creep in. You see the runner on second, and you've got another Spartan slugger right here, as Russo was one of the stronger batters, but now she's going to swing and miss. The 0-2 count. It's a dangerous count here with 2 outs. We've already seen some great breaking balls from Golan.
Well, and Golan did strike out Russo back in the second inning already, and Russo does not want a repeat of that here in the bottom of the fourth, with her team desperately needing a run and having someone in scoring position at second. That one's going to go all the way to the backstop and allow Gallhouse to advance to third, so the Spartans really catch a big break there.
driven up the middle, not fielded cleanly. The Spartans get on the board and lead 1-0. Russo gets the first RBI of the season on her first pitch. You don't need to plug it when there's a runner on third.
Boy, is Alexa Russo fired up at first base, and she should be going down 0-2 in the count. I mentioned she had struck out in her first at-bat and responds to the moment and drives in Galhouse from third base. So now UT not only takes the lead, still has a runner on first base, and they get Lexi Chevalier to the plate here as the tables have turned, and Liz Golan needs to retake command here for the Lander Bearcats.
She'll go down 1-0 in the count now, so already the pressure starting to pick up. Golan needs to try to get out of the jam here and limit the damage. One run isn't insurmountable, but not a great situation to be in, especially in what's been a defensive showing. It'll be a 2-0 count here, and a good eye from Chevalier.
See, Chevalier is 0 for 1 in this game. And ahead in the count here, 2-0. And now she's going to be up in the count 3-0. And things are really starting to look up for the Spartans, who were struggling offensively through the game's first 3 innings. Now they've not only scored the game's first run, but they have a runner at first and a batter that's up 3-0 in the count, as Liz Golan set to deliver.
And that'll be taken for strike 1 here.
Home plate umpire Tyrone Miller, bit of a delay calling that one from up here. It looked like ball 4. That's why I'm behind the microphone and not behind the plate.
Now obviously, even though there's a good view up here, you got a better view down there. There's a fly to center field, but it'll be routinely fielded, and the side is retired. So, Golan gets out of the jam, but not before surrendering a run. Tampa takes a 1-0 lead at the end of the 4th inning.
This is the University of Tampa.
And we are back in Tampa for the 4th inning of some Spartan softball. So far, the Spartans have been able to get 1 run and have the lead. Corin Miner having a great game so far, having pitched 4 innings with 4 strikeouts, a walk, and 2 hits allowed. But even more notably for Tampa fans, the baseball team is leading 9-0 right now. So a great start for them. They're in the 3rd inning. So good starts for both Spartans teams, hoping to continue it. Now, coming to the plate will be Lauren Colley, 0 for 1 so far.
Colley facing Corinne Miner,
out here. Colley trying to avoid getting out here. And that pitch is taken for ball 2. A 2-1.
Lauren Colley, the number 8 hitter in the Lander lineup.
2-1. It's in the zone for the second strike. And as we were mentioning, Tampa's offense was able to get a little bit of action last inning, getting the run and a few hits. And what that also gives is Minor a little bit of a rest. She's already up to 65 pitches. And oh, that's a great diving play in the outfield to get the first out. That certainly looked like a hit, but Avery Perkins was able to run and make a nice catch to put one away to start out the top of the 5th.
Yeah, fantastic catch there in the outfield and a shot in the arm for UT defensively. And as I mentioned, it's things like that and Corinne Minor settling down that could really swing the momentum in favor of the home team. You get a great highlight catch like that in the outfield. And let's watch and see how the Bearcats respond, because certainly you don't want to let frustration set in. And it's 0-1 here in the early going in this at-bat for Reagan Sinkowitz, who is 0 for 1 in this game. And swings and misses there, and now quickly she's behind 0-2.
Yep, 0-2 is a dangerous count for any batter.
Delivers her next pitch right away, whereas you see Liz Golan and the time she spends as there's strike 3, she swings and goes down for out number 2. Liz Golan spends a lot of time looking at her catcher, looking at the dugout, a lot of communication taking place. And mind you, Liz Golan is a senior, so it's not that it's someone who's a freshman and that's new to all of this, but it's just a different style. And Corinne Minor, as I mentioned, works very quickly and was able to get the 3rd strike there. And for Corinne Minor, her 5th strikeout of the game. And now we're back to the top of the order for the Bearcats, and this is Sajari Jones.
Jones will foul off that first pitch, and yeah, that is a pretty pronounced difference, because even though there has been plenty of pitches for Minor, her at-bats are generally a lot quicker, and she's definitely getting back to pitching in the circle very quickly, trying to keep the game pace relatively quick. And I think it's been working well, not allowing Lander a lot of time to try to set up and formulate like they usually like to. Here's the 1-1 here with 2 outs. It's going to be dropped to third base. Clean throw to first, and the side is retired. Another 1-2-3 inning for the Spartans, as we now approach the bottom of the 5.
Yeah, and that's an important inning for UT in the sense that you mentioned 1, 2, 3, and so they're able to close the door for Lander, give them nothing to try to respond to that first run that the Spartans had put on the board, and it also makes the Bearcats kind of scratch their heads a little bit and say, uh-oh, we had some momentum in the early going. We weren't able to get a runner in scoring position, never mind cross the plate, and now all of a sudden the Spartans just closed the door on us, and time is going to get away quickly from the Bearcats now because they only have 2 at-bats left in the sense of the 6th and the 7th innings, whereas Tampa has the 1-0 lead. They're coming to bat here in the bottom of the 5th, and they're starting to slowly feel the momentum turn their way. So this is a good opportunity for both teams to see if the Spartans can put their foot on the accelerator and if the Bearcats can slow things down a little bit and make sure they get themselves back into this game with a run of their own to at least get things tied up.
And this certainly will be the most stressful inning for Golan. And a notable thing as well, Golan's only at 53 pitches after even what was a pretty long 4th inning. That was where the Spartans pitcher Minor was at in the 2nd inning. So, but again, it'll be a lot of pressure as Golan wants to try to keep the Spartans at bay. And the Spartans hoping that they can try to drive enough momentum to potentially try to win game 1 right here.
Siegel will lead this off for UT. In the bottom of the 5th inning, we're going to see the numbers 7, 8, and 9 hitters for the Spartans here, and Siegel is 0 for 1 thus far this afternoon. And as you see Golan checking that wristband again.
ball one. So, the 1-0 count here.
And we talked about the different styles. You know, it's still a rhythm. It's still a rhythm for Golan, even though she takes much longer to deliver her pitches. That's just what her rhythm is, and that's what her routine is, checking with her catcher, checking with her dugout. Whereas we mentioned Corinne Miner, her rhythm is much quicker, and she's very efficient with her pitches. Still a 1-0 game, so you can't say that one style is right and the other one is wrong, because otherwise this game would be probably more like the score of the baseball game that you mentioned.
The most important thing whenever you're in the pitcher's circle is you have to feel comfortable. So even if the slower pace maybe isn't always a thing that a certain type of pitcher wants, for some pitchers it's the way to go. And as long as you feel comfortable and are able to get results, no matter how you do it, you have to stick to what works. But so far, not working out super well this inning. A 4-0 4-pitch walk to now put a runner on.
And you can also make the argument that it's challenging for the hitters, because if you're not used to a pitcher who works as quickly as Corinne Miner does, that's something that you have to adjust to. If you're not used to a pitcher who doesn't deliver the pitch as quickly as you would like, as is the case with Liz Golan, that's something that you have to adjust to as a Spartan hitter. But the Spartans off to a good start here in the bottom of the fifth, not only leading 1-0, but they already have a runner on base, and there's another bunt that's dropped very nicely in front of home plate, and it's not going to be there in time. So UT all of a sudden with runners on first and second and nobody out, and threatening to increase this 1-0 lead.
And that's a great play there by Emily Jansen. And yeah, exactly, just able to drop the bunt down, and that was perfect. It landed right in the dirt, unable to be fielded in time, and she's able to get to first base. And there will be a double pinch run here. Actually, the Spartans just call time, I think, to me.
Well, actually, the Bearcats are the ones that are calling time, because head coach Julie Lemaire wants to talk with her pitcher, Liz Golan. And I did see Leslie Cantor giving the thumbs up to Emily Jansen. And now you see Avery Perkins getting ready to step back into the batter's box. And Avery Perkins already has a single in this game from the third inning. So they'd certainly love to see her repeat that, if not more, as UT with a great opportunity here, Taylor. Up 1-0 with nobody out. And the game all of a sudden resembling something very different from what we saw the first couple innings for the home team.
Yep. And the Spartans are going to want to try to capitalize in this situation. Exactly. With no outs and 2 runners on, it's the exact place to try to really just continue with this momentum. And Golan already had a tough last inning, so not a great start this time too. Notably, Lander also has someone warming up in the pen in Reagan Moore. They potentially could be making a change, but for now, Golan's still on the mound, having to work out of this jam. The 0-0 here for Avery Perkins.
Avery Perkins, one of 2 lefties in the Spartan lineup.
Perkins goes around, strike 1. So the 0-1 here for Perkins.
Be interesting to see if Liz Golan settles down in the circle after that timeout and the talk from her coach.
Sometimes all you need is a good talk. The bunt goes down, but it will roll foul. So no chance to load the bases there. The 0-2 now. That was a very well-placed bunt, but unfortunately doesn't do enough.
It was also a smart play by Golan to wait. She knew that was going to roll foul. Sometimes in a situation like that where the blood is pumping because you know what the situation is, 2 runners behind you, you're anxious to get an out, and you run after a ball that you didn't need to, and all of a sudden things go poorly. Whereas if you're patient like Liz Golan was, you watch it roll foul, no harm.
Exactly, no harm. And in this case, however, it was foul. So it's a good take here from Avery Perkins on the 3rd pitch to bring it to a 1-2 count. But yeah, that was a great eye from Golan on that play. If you do pick that up and try to make a fielding play, at best you have the bases loaded. At worst, that throw misses and potentially 2 runs score. Now the 1-2. Strike 3. Perkins goes down swinging. And even though there was a little bit of a lead for both runners, no one dares move. 1 out now, as it's back to the top of the order for the Spartans, for Lauren Fantone.
But Taylor, that's how important it was that she did watch that ball roll foul, because you hit the nail on the head. She could have, out of emotion, tried to field that ball and overthrown someone and a couple of runs score. Instead, she watches it go foul, it counts as a strike, comes back with a called strike, and all of a sudden she gets herself an out. She can exhale a little bit and just work on getting out number 2.
And there's a foul ball on the first pitch again to Fantone, and that nearly hits Balmer. Balmer's able to get out of the way, though. And yeah, in a situation like this, it's never good, but with 1 out, at the very least, you can hope for a double play. You can hope for any situation that can get you in a better spot. A sacrifice play moves runners, but wouldn't put them in a place where they could score on another sacrifice.
And ironically, Fantone hit into a double play in the 3rd inning. She had also lined out in the 1st inning. And so 0-2 so far in this game.
The 0-1 here. Fantone hoping to not get into the double play. Golan hoping for that exact thing to repeat. Fouled away. 0-2 here. And on deck is Maria Gallhouse. Or, sorry, Stephanie Balmer. And Balmer is going to be very hopeful that she can get a chance to bat with these runners in scoring position. But also, Fantone trying to get something in play. Takes a nice ball, too. So 2-2 count here.
This is where Golan, the delay that she has exhibited in between her pitches, is going to work to her advantage, because she can try to calm herself down.
And that will be fouled off, keeping the at-bat alive. And exactly, with the slower pace of play, you allow yourself to collect your nerves a little bit easier. You don't have to worry if you're going super fast that things start to tumble in a hurry. Golan can take a step back and say, I'm still in control. The game is far from over. We've got plenty of time. All I need to do is focus on this next pitch. It's going to be lined to short. Both runners get back safely, though. 2 outs now. Lander could be getting out of a jam, but there is still another Spartan ready to go, and Stephanie Balmer.
And so Liz Golan exhaling a lot more now, as she's just 1 out away from getting out of a jam. Keep in mind that the Spartans had 2 runners on base and no outs, and all of a sudden those 2 runners have not moved, and yet they have 2 outs. So this becomes a huge at-bat, both for Liz Golan in the pitching circle, as well as for Lily Keister in the batter's box. Excuse me, Stephanie Balmer, I'm sorry.
Balmer takes the first pitch for a 1-0 count. It just drops into the dirt. And yeah, Golan, a great job being able to pitch her way out of this jam so far. Good job keeping cool and calm in the circle. Now trying to figure out how to retire the side with Balmer at the plate. Here's the pitch. Balmer's going to crank one to center field, and it will be easily caught. And despite 2 runners on with no outs, the top half is retired with no damage given.
So we are through 5 complete, and the Spartans in the lead, 1-0. I'm Bruce Wozniak, joined with Taylor Stolworthy here at the Namoli Family Stadium on a Saturday afternoon, a softball doubleheader, as the University of Tampa Spartans are hosting the Lander Bearcats down from Greenwood, South Carolina. And we're starting the top of the 6th inning with the home team up 1-0.
Bridget Tierney now at the plate will foul that backwards. 4 0-1 count to open up. Hasn't been a lot of offense for Lander. A little bit of offense from Tampa, but both teams' pitching staff has been great so far. Notably, of course, in the circle, Corin Minor, a great game. Gets now the 0-2 count, could potentially have a 6th strikeout of the day.
And there you see how quickly Corinne Minor works. And just like that, because of how quickly she works, Bridget Tierney already behind 0-2.
And the chance will go out wide for ball 1. But exactly, being able to work fast keeps the batter on their toes and doesn't give you a lot of time to formulate and strategize what you're looking to do. But that being said, it also means that you're working a little bit faster too. You might make a mistake trying to keep the speed up. But so far, I mean, it's been working beautifully for Minor. Tonight, last season, and even the season before, where she's continually had a sub-1 ERA.
Tierney struck out in the first, reached on an error in the third, and sends that one foul down the left field line, and not able to get there in time, Lauren Fantone.
Fantone with a good effort there, but unfortunately not able to get it as it goes foul. Still a 2-2 count.
Good job by Bridget Tierney to stay alive here after she quickly went down 0-2.
And Tierney hoping to keep alive again. Here's the pitch, strike 3. It's a 6th strikeout for Corin Minor on the day to get the first out in the top of the 6th.
And a good response there from Corinne Minor after she watched the count get even at 2-2, and then the foul ball down the left field line. And Corinne Minor, as you mentioned, 6 strikeouts now. And we are at the number 3 hitter, and a bunt that's going to be fielded by Minor and over to first base in time.
Yep, it's an easy out there off the bunt. A good job by Minor to field it and get the second out. Now up again will be Barbara Cook. She's 0-2 so far, and hoping to keep this inning alive just a little bit longer.
And if you're head coach Julie Lemaire, you're looking at Barbara Cook, your cleanup hitter, saying, this is why we have you in the number 4 spot. We're expecting you to provide some offense.
And that will be fouled away and rolls back down off the netting. The 0-1 here now, and exactly at the cleanup spot, Cook is going to be looked on to try to get something going. 2 hits only for Lander so far, and they also were able to draw 1 walk. The 0-1 here. There's going to be a fly ball. This time, it'll go foul and into the bullpen. No one warming up actively. Actually, yeah, there's a little fan section over there, right next to the bullpen. But taking a look over for the Spartans, as expected, no one warming up. Minor's definitely going to try to go the full game.
But Barbara Cook did put the bat on the ball each of those first 2 pitches.
And both times as well was able to get a little bit of distance on it. All you need to do now is get the distance going the opposite direction. There's a drive to deep left field, but very much foul. And out of the stadium, it looks like. Now still 0-2, keeping it alive. But getting some good contact every single time. Minor's going to need to figure out how to retire the final out of the top of the 6th.
And Barbara Cook needs to figure out how to put the ball in play.
And it's strike 3. The side is retired. Another 1-2-3 innings with 2 strikeouts again for Minor, getting her 7th of the game.
Yeah, Corinne Minor has definitely found her groove here, and this does not bode well for the Bearcats as we go to the bottom of the 6th, meaning they only have the top of the 7th left, and yet the Spartans still with an opportunity here to increase their lead in the bottom of the 6th, as we will see the numbers 3, 4, and 5 hitters and 3 players who all have hits for UT that will come to the plate this inning. Galhouse, Minor, and Russo, each of them are 1 for 2, and Galhouse had that double back in the 4th inning, and she had flown out in the 1st, and they'll look to her to start things off here in the bottom of the 6th inning in this first game of the doubleheader against Lander and try to start the season off in the victory column as Liz Golan is out there getting ready for inning number 6. She has thrown 69 pitches so far, 2 strikeouts, walked 1 batter. She's allowed 5 hits, whereas for Corinne Miner in the circle for UT, she has allowed just 2 hits for the visiting Bearcats.
Both pitchers also have surrendered a single walk. Lander also got a base runner off on a Tampa error. So, there is Golan back on the mound for Lander. They had someone warming in the bullpen earlier in the game, but she was able to recover, and at this point, she'll be back potentially in the final inning here, unless Lander's offense gets back moving in the top of the 7th. But we still at the bottom of the 6th here, and Maria Gallhouse is in. First pitch taken for strike 1, right on the outside corner line. And Gallhouse so far, a good game, hitting 1 of 2. And I imagine that she'll be on the mound next game for Tampa as another elite pitcher. But for now, has been playing in the field. And we'll take ball 1 as well. So it'll be now a 1-1 count. So the 1-1.
Golan checking that wristband still.
So Golan here with the 1-1. Ooh, that is a devastating changeup. Absolutely fooled Gallhouse. A 1-2 here, trying to get the first out. And apart from surrendering the one run and 5 hits, it's been a good game in the circle for Golan. It's going to be grounded right to her. And an easy throw to first. Gallhouse is retired, so 1 away. As Corin Miner now steps
An easy throw to first, but almost a little too light on the throw. And that one could have almost been run out or not reached first base. She needs to put a little bit more behind that. I think she was almost relieved that she knew they were going to get the out, but probably could have afforded to put a little more zip behind it. You get a heads-up batter that's really good on the base path and might have outrun that.
Yeah. And we've already seen, I think, a few times Tampa being able to outrun it. Pitch will be slightly outside for ball 1 for Corin Miner. Yeah, sometimes those can be the most deceiving of plays. A ball to the circle, picks it up. You think you have all the time in the world, but all of a sudden, the runner's like right there, and it's a photo finish. So the 1-0 here now.
Miner 1 for 2. She singled back in the 2nd inning, and then a ground out in the 4th, and now batting in the bottom of the 6th, and ahead in the count 2-0.
A good eye to start out from Miner. And on deck is Alexa Russo, who has the lone RBI this game off of a great hit later on in the 4th inning. The 2-0 here. It's going to be grounded right to third. And a simple throw to first retires the 2nd out. Russo now up. No one on, 2 outs. And Golan could potentially get out of the inning cleanly.
And at the same time for UT, they would love to get an insurance run here, even though there's 2 out. Whatever that looks like, if they can get one more runner across the plate here, I'm sure they'd breathe a lot easier if they go to the top of the 7th with quote-unquote only a 2-run lead.
There's strike 1 being taken by Russo. And Russo is the type of batter you want to have if you're looking for that extra run. Notably, last season, she had 4 multi-hit games. Hopefully, she can kind of get the 5th from for the past 2 seasons. Right here. That'll be fouled away, leading to an 0-2 count here with 2 outs. Golan, 1 pitch away from a clean 1-2-3 inning. But overall, as you mentioned, only a 2-run lead. Those 2 runs are actually going to be such a big deal in this type of pitcher's duel. Both pitchers absolutely great from the circle. Even with Golan not able to be perfect. Here's a ground out to the circle again. This time, we'll just jog over the first and lob it a little bit quicker this time, so maybe she picked up on that little bit of advice to make sure that she does get the out instead of maybe waiting to the photo finish.
Nonetheless, we are through 6 complete, and we will see if this is going to be the last half inning of play for this first game of the doubleheader, as the Spartans have a 1-0 lead.
Just another ordinary day at UT.
It's the top of the 7th, and the last chance here for Lander. Corin Minor has had a great game so far, with 6 innings pitched, 7 strikeouts, and only 4 hitters were able to get on base. 1 error, 1 walk, and 2 hits. She'll be in the circle for the final inning. Ready to go, as now at the plate will be Logan Coward.
Logan Coward swings and misses the first pitch of inning number 7, and she's 1 for 2 so far this afternoon. Struck out looking back in the 2nd and singled in the 4th, and now chops one down to 3rd, and that one's over in plenty of time for out number 1 here in inning number 7. So the Spartans 2 outs away, although the lead only 1-0 for the home team.
And a good play there by Emily Jansen, being able to make the reach to get the throw, or to make the catch and get the out at first. And being the tallest player in the field, that's what that luxury allows you to do, to be able to pick up those balls. That might be a little bit harder for a smaller first baseman, but there is a line drive down the third base line, and it's not reachable for Siegel. And now there's a runner on first, a tying run there, potentially with 1 out.
For Haven Pesce, she's now 2 for 3 on the afternoon, and represents the tying run at first base, as we are either going to see a pinch runner or we're going to see a change in the lineup, and I believe that we're going to get a different hitter, as Hannah Medley looks like she's going to hit here. And so Hannah Medley, a sophomore from Gaffney, South Carolina, getting ready to face Corinne Minor, as the Bearcats, with 1 out here in the top of inning number 7, have themselves the tying run at first.
And that's what Lander needed to do, to try to get someone on the base path early, to try to put that pressure there. Minor still looking cool, calm, and collected on the mound. Needs 2 outs to secure what would be a shutout complete game victory. She's been great from the circle so far. That was only the 3rd hit allowed in the game.
Let's see what Medley does here. A batter that Minor has not seen so far in this game. Might give the batter the advantage.
And it's a little bit of like a 50-50 there, because you haven't pitched to the batter, you don't know what the batter will do, but the batter also hasn't been in the circle, or in the batter's box, and seen exactly what the pitcher's throwing. And that will be strike 1 there, off the ball.
I might give the edge to the hitter in that case, because not only has she been able to watch from the dugout the whole game, but she's certainly been able to get some tips from her teammates that have faced Minor all afternoon.
So as that pitch is accidentally fouled off, as it didn't look like Minor was going through the hole, or the pitch from Minor didn't receive the whole swing. It simply kind of bounced off the bat and down onto the home plate. So now the 1-1 here. It's up high, and that'll be 2-1.
Yeah, Hannah Medley wanted to swing at that one and showed good restraint. And as a result, up in the count.
And we'll once again watch it, but this time it gets in the zone for strike 2. A 2-2 here with 1 out. And obviously, as a pinch hitter, there's a lot of pressure, and Medley definitely doesn't want to strike out here. Minor hoping to get an 8th strikeout. And it will hit her, unfortunately. But even though that's a pitch that might bruise a little bit, you get on first base, you take one for the team, and the winning run is now at first. Wouldn't win the game, of course, outright. Tampa would still have the bottom half to try to get that 1 run back. But now the tying run in scoring position, as up next now, is Lauren Colley. Also, there will be a pinch runner coming in.
In the meantime, I do see that the Spartans have Mary Beth Feldman throwing in the bullpen. Now, that could be that maybe she's the Game 2 starter and not Galhouse. Or it could be that Leslie Cantor just wants to keep all her options open, and thus Mary Beth Feldman throwing right now in the Spartans bullpen. So let's see how this unfolds.
An interesting thing about Feldman, she recently transferred from the University of Utah. Pitched multiple years there and had a pretty decent time there. Her highlights had come from her freshman season, and now arrives at the University of Tampa.
Yeah, an interesting route back to her hometown from nearby Lithia.
And there's going to be a fly right to short, and it'll be a simple second out there. Minor could potentially seal the deal here with 2 outs. And admittedly, yeah, I definitely would. I would not also be surprised if Feldman was given the start for Game 2. She's had a lot of experience in D1 in the circle, and warming up most likely as there will be things to go up. Now, pinch hitter comes on potentially for the final out. It will be Aggie Behe. Abby Behe now up as the pinch hitter. She's a freshman from High Point.
So this is twice in this half inning where Corinne Minor has had to face a batter that she's not seen yet in this game, as the Bearcats are pulling out all the stops as Behe fouls the first pitch from Minor over towards her own dugout.
It's 0-1 so far, and yeah, the second pinch hitter. The first one was able to get on after a little hit by pitch. Now, that tying run at second, the 0-1 here. Strike 2 here off a really nice pitch from Minor in the swing and miss. Behe now 0-2, 1 pitch away, 1 out away from closing out Game 1 of the doubleheader.
Or does it go the other way and she's 1 swing of the bat away from tying it up?
Potentially, it's going to be fouled out. But at the very least, it wasn't that swing. We still have another to go.
And remember that we do have a second game coming up between these 2 teams for a doubleheader here.
This first game's been exciting. It's going to be grounded to short. A little bit not handled perfectly, but the throw is in time. Tampa takes the first game 1-0. And we will be back soon for Game 2, but it's Corinne Minor putting up a complete game outing with 3 hits allowed and 7 strikeouts. Unfortunately for Lander, it's going to be a loss for Liz Gollin, who goes 6 innings with a good game of her own. Unfortunately, though, she did concede 1 run, and that was what made the difference.
Yeah, the Spartans with 5 hits, and that was enough to defeat Lander and Liz Golan. So UT starts off the season 1-0, and stick around. We'll be back with Game 2 between the Spartans